Hey my friend, happy Tuesday. Emily Smiley here. Welcome to Hot Topic Tuesday. My apologies, it's a little later than I normally come on, but I do have some awesomeness I feel like to share with you guys, and some real authentic here. So how many of you feel like December is just blah, right? It's so hard to make yourself do normal things, much less extra on your business, right? I know if you are busy, as I'm sure I am and everybody is, there's just a lot to do on top of your norm. It's holiday and shopping and, Christmas and all of these things. And then, you're trying to keep up with your job and your family and your day-to-day chores and your workouts and, your meal prep or whatever it is. And so what is the last thing that gets pushed to that back burner? Sometimes, a lot of times, it's your business, right? And how many of you guys can relate to when you are connecting with your prospects and your customers and they're canceling on you left and right, and they're like, well, I need to cancel it now, or I get more cancellations, and that's just the way it is in December than any other time of year. Now, most of them are back, right, in the first of the year, but a lot of times it can put you in a funk, right? You're just like, I don't feel like working on my business. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like, whatever it may be, right? So hot topic today is Merry Funkness. So that's just the real honesty of it. But I did want to share with you guys, I've been in some really good trainings lately. And so today's a little bit of a tidbit Tuesday. So I hope there's some things that you can learn. If you already know it, great, moving on. And if not, then, sometimes just one little valuable little tidbit can really be a game changer in your business. So it's a little bit of just random tips of just different things that I kind of put together for you guys on Tidbit Tuesday, right? So the first is that helps you when you are in that funk in December is preparing for it, right? Like many of you guys know, like I've worked in the gym industry for many years now, a couple decades, and in December you usually know and you plan that there's a slump, that there's a slump in December. So if you know that going in, you can prepare for that before you get to December. And it's really cool, actually. A couple of the places that I either work at or work out at, they prepared for that, and they have run challenges and contests that have really actually made it really busy in December. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. And so you can actually create the same in your business. Now you might be like, it's way too late to do that. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you don't start in December, that's fine. But it is helpful. It is helpful to get your customers, your prospect, your team, right? How many of you guys, you don't hear from your team at all in December? I've literally had people tell me, talk to me the first of the year, and you're like, really? Would you do that on your job? So even if this is your side hustle, are you really gonna wait until the new year to even pick it back up? But many of us have, and I've totally been guilty of this myself, right? You're in this funk and you've got so much to do. There's no boss over you, so it's like, nobody's doing anything anyway. I'm just gonna deal with it. But a lot of times it takes time to create that momentum. And so do you really wanna wait until January to start doing the work that's going to take some time and consistency to build to start to see that momentum start to happen in 2020? And then there's another thing that you can do. And this is my takeaway for today my takeaway from this training was, I was like, oh, that's absolutely true, is you don't own a business till you own a system. Now, there are lots of different systems, and people's definition of what is a system, is completely different. But the reality is do you own a business until you own a system? If you have a system, if you have something that is in place that will work when you aren't, then that's super helpful on those slower slump months, right? So someone was asking me, today, and somebody this weekend, well, how's business? Well, okay, in all honesty, it's usually a little bit slower. I've had some people cancel, and some team decide not to renew or whatever. That's normal. That is normal. If you don't think that's normal, just give it a few years, right? It absolutely is. But they were like, well, how's business doing? I'm like, actually, it's doing really well. I have some things running. When you have that automated system out there, it's working when you're not. So even though it's like, okay, well, I've had a lot going on. I've been in a little bit of a funk. I'm having a hard time motivating myself. I know that my team has. I know that we're doing these challenges or whatever that we're doing, right, within our community. But even that being said, it's super helpful when you have those things in place that are working even when you don't feel like it, right? So to do that, you need a map. And I know that I have done this before. And actually, if you didn't catch last week's Tuesday, I thought it was really good. It was basically, I was sharing with you guys about the difference between automation and organic reach. Just basically defining what they are and why you need both in your business. But you also need that map that I've talked about before, because how do you know where you're going? And how are you gauging where you are, right? Like, it's so easy just to say, oh, well, my business just sucks. Nobody's doing anything. Or my team sucks, or, you know, my upline or my downline, whatever it is, right? But when you have a roadmap, you can actually gauge your process, your progress, right? All of that. So you have a large utility of tools. That said, you won't make money unless you are engaged in money-making activities. And there's a lot of truth to this to be said. When people go to online, they think that it is a replacement for meeting people or talking to people or connecting with people. And a lot of people that build old school, they think you're copping out. Well, you're just building online. You're never going to make that work because you can't connect. When the reality is you can connect with people, but yes, you still have to connect with people. You just don't have to talk to so many. You kind of filter them through, and then yeah, you jump on the call. You can close that, but it doesn't start out that way, if that makes sense. You still have to engage in money-making activities. So if you're creating content or you're doing curiosity posts, and even if you're doing them correctly, this time of year, a lot of times you're going to get crickets. You're going to get this or that or the other, versus following up and talking with people and connecting and, like, you know, hitting the ground pavement, like, hey, let me help you get this for your, you know, your shopping list or whatever, instead of throwing up something going, oh, this is so great, buy this for the holiday, blah, 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 right? A blog content you might create is not a money-making activity unless you are pushing people to that blog, right? That system, that automation that we talked about. And then the people that respond or say or raise their hand, whether electronically or click or whatever it is, connecting with those people. If you don't do the work to follow up with those people and say, hey, I saw you liked this, or I'm inviting you to my page, or hey, I want to do, like, you have to put the work in. You have to do the money-making activities. Even if you've decided to build online and you're running all of this. If you're posting on social media and you're adding all of these new friends and you're adding to your network or your influence, but you're not actually connecting with people and getting to know them and face-to-face, they're not going to develop that know, like, and trust, and that will not be a money-making activity. So there's this long game that you're playing, but there's also this short game that you're playing of, okay, I need to put my money where my mouth is, and I need to do the actual day-to-day, like, non-negotiables, I call them, right? You've probably heard them, DMOs, daily method. Like, I feel like all businesses, you know, have those NMers, right? You know that. But those posts don't make you money unless you talk to those people. Followers do, right? Influencers do. So look at your week and look at your must-dos, right? What must you do this time of year? And don't just fake work it, right? So you need a call to action, and not like a join me or a this or that. You need an actual automated system that you're bringing people through, right? Because you don't own your business unless you have that system. And it is so vital in December. I would say probably more than any other month. So let's look at a couple of the specifics. Number one is recruiting. So stop speaking about your products that are on sale this time of year, blah, 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 and speak their language. Speak life. Like, what does it do? What do they need this time of year? What are they struggling with that you solve? Or if it's a business, a lot of people get seasonal help this time of year. A lot of people are hiring. So what is your side gig? Stop saying, like, oh, join me, I make this full time. When it's crap, you're only working like a couple of hours, but you're still making part-time income. That is amazing. And sometimes that is more appealing to people than you know, fake it till you make it, saying, oh, I'm doing this like full time and I'm making like, you know, 6 or 7 figures or whatever, when you're full of crap. You're working part time, but you're making some decent side money, right? I've been there and I know what that's like. So share that with people, because a lot of people are like, oh, I could do that. All right, I could share this. I don't want to build a team, but I can share the products, and teaching them to do that correctly. The other is closing, signing people up. It's one thing to run an ad or to do something that's automated and having that system and running them through it. But when push comes to shove, you can't be anti-phone. When 5 minutes on the phone would close the deal, or sign a new recruit, or close the deal, or help your team member get their promotion or get their product or sold or whatever. So as much automation as you have, at the end of the day, you have to do the money-making activity and do the work to get you to close and to the sale, right? And a lot of times people are unclear with that, which is why you see your team fall off in December, because it's unclear. I've totally been there in my business. I've been there to where I'm like not given enough to do on my team, like not given responsibility, or you're just told talk to more people or just sign more people up without giving them the how. Or I've also been on this end where it's like, whoa, you need to do this. And especially when I got into the online, you overwhelm them. They're confused, that your message has gotten muddled in the process. And so it's very, very, very unclear. If you're unclear yourself, then you can absolutely guarantee that your team that you're building, or even your customers or your prospects or whoever it is that you're sharing with, that they're going to be unclear as well. So you have to get clear on, and that's again where that map comes in, where it's like they have enough to do, but they don't need to worry about the end of the map. They just need to worry about the next step and the next step. And you have to tell them how, which comes to my next specific, which is team building. A lot of times, especially for me in the past when I was building, when I've done this, and they're like, oh, you need duplication, you need, team or whatever. And my team would just fall off at the end of the year. And I'm like, I don't understand why they're not willing to do this. But they're either not taking enough action because your message, isn't clear. If your people are getting on trainings and they're taking the time and they're hearing the same message over and over and over, and there's nothing new and nothing fun, and they're not learning anything, they're not going to be inspired to do anything. You're not sending a clear and fun message. People won't take action because they don't know what to do. They're like, well, I've heard this a gazillion times and I've already tried it. What needs to be done on your team and how to do it. Telling people to go out and sign up 5, new customers and 5 new, team members this month without telling them how, or even better, giving them the map for how. And then we wonder why they just kind of like fall to the background, right? They stop participating. Participation on a team is vital. I don't know how many of you guys have kids, but when my kids start a new season, I can tell how well the team is going to go by a couple of things. Number one, how the parents know each other. So if I'm new on a team, but all of the other parents have kind of got it down, it's a little intimidating to me maybe in the beginning, or if I don't know anyone. And if I know everyone and I know everyone's plugged in, then it's fun, right? But even if I've been a new person, which I've been here, and I come in and they're like, oh, well, this is the snack thing, and we're going to have a party here, and we're all going to get together and hang out. Now, I've coached many teams over the years, and I can honestly say, and my husband and I agree on this, it is so, at the end of the season, when you have the end of the year party, and all the parents are like, oh, it's so sad. We're like, that needs to be in the beginning. It's the same in your business. You need to create that sense of community where everybody connects and knows each other, waiting until December where you hear crickets, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, people, let's go. And you're trying to rally the troops. Then they're not even going anywhere. You have to create that momentum, that excitement, and then asking, just like they do when you're like, oh, hey, you're part of this team. You're in charge of snacks on this date, and you're in charge of bringing this on this date. And hey, can you help with practice? You feel more part of a team. So if you're wanting your team and you're working on team building, and that's something that you're in a funk about December, telling your team like, hey, you're going to be in charge of, this, and I need your help on this, and this is not my strong suit, which requires authentic and vulnerability, and saying, hey, you're really good at this, and I value you. Can you help contribute this to the team? I guarantee your team is less likely to fall by the wayside and just stop taking that action because they're unclear on what to do. You've made it very clear on what to do. They are a participating member of your team, right? Otherwise, they're just going to drop like flies, and they're going to stay inactive until you're like, well, they haven't been working. And then they're thinking, well, they haven't asked me to do anything. And I've been there. And so you're like, okay, well, I'm done. I'm not valued. I'm not a valued team member here. And I'm going to go somewhere where I feel like I'm contributing. And that doesn't matter if it's online or offline. Either way, you want to feel a part for something, right? So it doesn't matter. You can fix your messages. You can fix all of these areas on recruiting and team building and posting and all of these things. But if you, at the end of the day, if you don't have that system in place, it's not helpful, right? So online or offline, it isn't a substitute for fake working. You still have to do the money-making activities. You still have to connect with people. So you can either manually try to fix all of these areas and keep those plates spinning, right? Or you can make that simple system that was the first tidbit that I shared, that uses the right life language, right, that we talked about. Not sharing the product or spewing your product or your company, sharing that life language and making it the same, right? Automating it, videos, however your system looks like, making that life language that you're sharing with your team so that they can then in turn share out. They're still participating, there's still a clear message, they're still duplicating, but it doesn't necessarily depend on you. So if you have a team member in the middle that's not taking action or active or participating, that automation kind of can skip over them and it doesn't matter, right? Because you've still got that simple system that works correctly in every single stage. So you don't have to be present. Or if that middle person is not sharing the same message, right? Because I've been there where it's like, this person says that this is the system, but it somehow doesn't get. And then this person's like, well, I'm confused. I don't know what the deal is. And they're going, well, that's not part of the system. How did you get that? Because it's not getting duplicated or automated all the way through because that message is unclear. And that leaves you with a teammate or a team member or a person who is unclear. They're either overwhelmed or they're completely bored and they don't feel appreciated because they're not a contributing, participating member of, your team or your company, right? So automation tools duplicate. It really helps you to set that stance across the board. It helps you to build online, but it also filters it so that your time is so much more effective when you are connecting face-to-face, phone call, Zoom, FaceTime, whatever it is that you're doing. So keep it simple. It doesn't mean that you have to, have this elaborate, I think I heard somebody say that she had like 76 funnels. I'm like, holy crap, like just need one, just one. And it doesn't even have to be like automated. You just need the system set that's in place for taking and the how to, right? So what needs to be done and how it needs to be done and what is your automated system, that you're doing. Keep it simple, clear message, so that you can exchange, especially in December when I'm busy, you're busy, you want that time freedom, right? You want that in place because you're focused on so many other things. If this is something that you are struggling with, reach out, let me know. I would love to connect you with, the community where I have learned how to do this in my business, and it's been super, super, super successful. As soon as I started these systems, you guys, I completely changed gears in my business, and I'm so excited. 2020 is going to be some major big moves for me, up-leveling, and it's scary and exciting at the same time, but you guys, it is your business, and ultimately you are the one making those decisions. So don't let the people around you, if you're not on the same page, you do what's best for you. I hope this was helpful. I hope these were valuable for you guys. If you are struggling health-wise in December, please reach out. I am hosting a 12 hacks of Christmas, the health hacks of Christmas, on another page. You need an invite for this. So we're going to be talking like your circadian rhythm, your sleep, your exercise, like all of the basics, things you probably already know, but more of like hacks on how to get those accomplished while being busy and working and a mom or whatever it is that, like everything else that we've got going on for December. So let me know if you'd like an invite for that, and I will for sure add you. In the meantime, get out there, get some momentum, get that consistency going so we can crush this in 2020. All right, guys, I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one. See ya. Bye.